All that I am, or hope to be, I owe to my angel mother. You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. Sir, my concern is not whether God is on our side. My greatest concern is to be on God's side, for God is always right. How many legs does a dog have if you call his tail a leg? For saying that a tail is a leg doesn't make it a leg. You can fool all the people some of the time, and some of the people all the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. The ballot is stronger than the bullet. Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. No man has a good enough memory to be a successful liar. The philosophy of the school room in 1 generation will be the philosophy of government in the. Be sure you put your feet in the right place, then stand firm. Next. Most folks are as happy as they make up their minds to be. Character is like a tree, and reputation like a shadow. The shadow is what we think of it. The tree is the real thing. Government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Every man is said to have his peculiar ambition. Whether it be true or not, I can say, for one, that I have no other so great as that of being truly esteemed of my fellow men, by rendering myself worthy of their esteem. How far I shall succeed in gratifying this ambition is yet to be developed. I don't like that man. I must get to know him better. I do the very best I know how, the very best I can, and I mean to keep on doing so until the end. I remember my mother's prayers, and they have always followed me. They have clung to me all my life. I am a slow walker, but I never walk back. When I do good, I feel good. When I do bad, I feel bad. And that's my religion. Always bear in mind that your own resolution to succeed is more important than any other. I will prepare, and someday my chance will come. I am not bound to win, but I am bound to be true. I am not bound to succeed, but I am bound to live by the light that I have. I must stand with anybody that stands right, and stand with him while he is right, and part with him when he goes wrong. It has been my experience that folks who have no vices have very few virtues. I have always found that mercy bears richer fruits than strict justice. I am a firm believer in the people. If given the truth, they can be depended upon to meet any national crisis. The great point is to bring them the real facts. We the people are the rightful masters of both Congress and the courts. Not to overthrow the Constitution, but to overthrow the men who pervert the Constitution. My great concern is not whether you have failed, but whether you are content with your failure. Don't worry when you are not recognized, but strive to be worthy of recognition. Do I not destroy my enemies when I make them my friends? As I would not be a slave, so I would not be a master. This expresses my idea of democracy. You have to do your own growing no matter how tall your grandfather was. Those who deny freedom to others deserve it not for themselves, and under the rule of a just God cannot long retain it. I do not think much of a man who is not wiser today than he was yesterday. Marriage is neither heaven nor hell. It is simply purgatory. The best way to get a bad law repealed, I dream, is of a place and a time where America will once again be seen as the last best hope of earth. He has a right to criticize who has a heart to help. Tact is the ability to describe others as they see themselves. The shepherd drives the wolf from the sheep's throat, for which the sheep thanks the shepherd as his liberator, while the wolf denounces him for the same act as the destroyer of liberty. Plainly, the sheep and the wolf are not agreed upon a definition of liberty. I like to see a man proud of the place in which he lives. I like to see a man live so that his place will be proud of him. The probability that we may fail in the struggle ought not to deter us from the support of a cause we believe to be just. No man is good enough to govern another man without the other's consent. Labor is prior to and independent of capital. Capital is only the fruit of labor, and could never have existed if labor had not first existed. Labor is the superior of capital and deserves much the higher consideration. This country, with its institutions, belongs to the people who inhabit it. Whenever they shall grow weary of the existing government, they can exercise their constitutional right of amending it, or exercise their revolutionary right to overthrow it. That some achieve great success is proof to all that others can achieve it as well. If this is coffee, please bring me some tea, but if this is tea, please bring me some coffee. At what point, then, is the approach of danger to be expected? I answer, if it ever reach us, it must spring up amongst us. It cannot come from abroad. If destruction be our lot, we must ourselves be its author and finisher. As a nation of freemen, we must live through all time, or die by suicide. Avoid popularity if you would have peace. A house divided against itself cannot stand. A friend is one who has the same enemies as you have. The things I want to know are in books. My best friend is the man who will get me a book I ain't read. No matter how much cats fight, there always seem to be plenty of kittens. Discourage litigation. Persuade your neighbors to compromise whenever you can. As a peacemaker, the lawyer has superior opportunity of being a good man. There will still be business enough. Let's have faith that right makes might, and in that faith let us, to the end, dare to do our duty as we understand it. Stand with anybody that stands right. Stand with him while he is right, and part with him when he goes wrong. All the armies of Europe, Asia, and Africa combined, with all the treasure of the earth in their military chest, with a Buonaparte for a commander, could not by force take a drink from the Ohio, or make a track on the Blue Ridge, in a trial of 1,000 years. Whenever I hear anyone arguing for slavery, I feel a strong impulse to see it tried on him personally. A woman is the only thing I am afraid of that I know will not hurt me. If we could first know where we are and whither we are tending, we could then better judge what to do and how to do it, with malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right, as God gives us to see the right. Let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds. The way for a young man to rise is to improve himself in every way he can, never suspecting that anybody wishes to hinder him. Don't interfere with anything in the Constitution. That must be maintained, for it is the only safeguard of our liberties. Slavery is founded in the selfishness of man's nature. Opposition to it is his love of justice. These principles are an eternal antagonism, and when brought into collision so fiercely, as slavery extension brings them, shocks and throes and convulsions must ceaselessly follow. We must laugh and philosophize and manage our households and look after our other affairs all at the same time, and never stop proclaiming the words of the true philosophy. Hic ego non multis, sed tibi, satis enim magnum alter alteri theatrum sumus. Merica yon perna menelon orang yon kesusahan. Mengen safi bawa membri lebi baked darapada medarima. Some men spend their whole life furnishing for themselves the things proper to life without realizing that at our birth each of us was poured a mortal brew to drink. The greatest fruit of self-sufficiency is freedom. If you wish to make Pythocles wealthy, don't give him more money, rather, reduce his desires. By pleasure, we mean the absence of pain in the body and of trouble in the soul. It, so long as we exist, death is not with us. But when death comes, then we do not exist. Towering genius disdains a beaten path. It seeks regions hitherto unexplored. Important principles may and must be inflexible. We should be too big to take offense and too noble to give it. I pass my life in preventing the storm from blowing down the tent, and I drive in the pegs as fast as they are pulled up. I don't know who my grandfather was. I am much more concerned to know what his grandson will be. If there is anything that a man can do well, I say let him do it. Give him a chance. I care not much for a man's religion whose dog and cat are not the better for it. If I were two-faced, would I be wearing this one? I never had a policy. I have just tried to do my very best each and every day. What kills a skunk is the publicity it gives itself. If once you forfeit the confidence of your fellow citizens, you can never regain their respect and esteem. Ballots are the rightful and peaceful successors to bullets. I want it said of me by those who knew me best, that I always plucked a thistle and planted a flower where I thought a flower would grow. When you have got an elephant by the hind legs and he is trying to run away, it's best to let him run. The dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate to the stormy present. The occasion is piled high with difficulty, and we must rise with the occasion. As our case is new, so we must think anew and act anew.